Okay, welcome everybody for the Board of Select Persons meeting for Tuesday, March 4th. We're in person and hybrid. I'll have the call to order and pledge of allegiance. Recognition of visitors for items not on the agenda. Our agenda this evening we have under reports, managers and financial. Under new business, transfer station RFP, CEDC discussion on initiatives. Road naming application, payables and any other business. And with that, if you do the pledge of allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We get sound effects tonight?
We got brains, we got people who don't know how to do things over there. Yes, I saw that,
I'm
John.
glad I came back to the meeting.
Anyway, can we do this over? Rewind.
The board willing, I'd like to move down to the CEDC discussion on initiatives with Rob. Page 27 in our packet.
Board's willing, I take it?
Yes.
Great. Rob Dwyer, Chair, CEDC. Thank you, Board, again, for coming and hang out with you once more. I think we have some slides, Nikki, would you mind?
Yeah, 27. 27, page 27.
So as we get to those, there's really two things that I'm here to talk to you about. I won't take too much time, even though we got a few slides here. Both of these are a follow-up from that last working group we had. At that working group, I kind of talked about two separate things. One of them is very much a municipal-led opportunity. That's with the DOT, and there's a couple of initiatives that I think are specific to Poland and could really help us if you all agreed. And then the other one is not really a municipal-led thing, but it's something that I've sort of uncovered and researched in the last couple of months. And it's called the Maine Downtown Center, and that's really a 501c3 nonprofit, and what a lot of small towns like Poland are doing to try and revitalize or create, frankly, a downtown for their towns. So I'm gonna, like I said, go over both of these briefly. Next slide, please. So the DOT, I think for the last 4 or 5 years, have been doing what they call community initiatives. You can see a bunch of them listed there: PPIs, VPIs, BPIs, and MPIs. The two that I really want to focus on today, and I am by no means an expert, are a PPI, a Planning Partnership Initiative, and a VPI, a Village Partnership Initiative. I should say that all of the information that I am presenting tonight, I just got from a couple of sources. One, just internet, DOT website. My son happens to work for the DOT on the procurement contracting side. He works a lot with planning, so I did pick his brain a little bit. But any engagement with DOT on these really has to be driven by the municipality, and I didn't want to step over the line, and so I have some facts, but I don't have all the answers, frankly. But you know, the key part about this is really that highlighted section, which is these initiatives, all 4 of these initiatives for the DOT, really focus on infrastructure and placemaking. And I think that's something we've talked about anecdotally, at least a little bit, when it comes to Poland downtown. We can go to the next slide. We can talk a little more specifics. The first one is called Planning Partnership Initiative. So this is a deal between the municipality and the state to develop a long-term plan. So one of the things we've talked a lot about in our last few working groups is coming up with a comprehensive plan for Poland. I know we've done a little bit of that here and there, and I haven't been around long enough to know all the instantiations of that. But as we talk about, you know, what happens if and when the high school moves, or if and when we get sewer down here, or et cetera, what we don't have is a really good plan, in my opinion, and that of the CEDC. So we, the municipality, Matt, Nikki, could engage DOT and talk to them specifically about this planning partnership initiative. Typically, it's capped at $75,000. They would send out an RFP, I think, or maybe the town does. Again, I'm a little murky on the details, but they would go to like a Sebago Technics or another engineering firm and contract them to help develop a long-term plan for Poland, and in particular, the village part of Poland. And this PPI is typically a 50-50 split, so it's not like it's a freebie. There is a cost to the municipality associated with it. So in my opinion, pretty good opportunity to get a plan together and really look at something long-term. As part of this planning, DOT insists that like it's typically like a one-year process, and getting civic engagement, community engagement is a key part of this. So you're really trying to get buy-in from the town. So that's one initiative. Put a pin in that one. If we can go to the next one, the one I'm even more excited about because it comes with money to actually fix some stuff, and there's a little bit, at least proportionally, less of a burden on the town, is the Village Partnership Initiative. As you can see there, this is significantly more money, into the millions of dollars. It also includes a planning stage. So you could accomplish everything you wanted to under the Planning Partnership Initiative. But then, once you have the plan, then there's monies to execute. And you can the other thing I think is pretty attractive about it is the current match formula, which is 80% federal, 10% DOT, and 10% municipality. Which I think is kind of cool, better than 50-50 on the plan. And like I said, it doesn't stop at the plan, but I guess one more slide on this, and then I'll sort of wrap it up. And you can see the timeline here. A PPI is kind of like a one-year thing, and a VPI, depending on how crazy we get and how much the town wanted to do in terms, are we ripping up streets? It can get pretty crazy in terms of scope. That'll really drive the timeline. So that's what I kind of wanted to blast out on the DOT thing. I think from a CEDC perspective, our recommendation would be that we start a conversation with DOT to see if any of these things make sense for us in our town. It might just be a conversation and we decide that's a bridge too far, whatever the case may be. But I know we won't make any of the shots we don't take, and this seems like a logical one to at least have a conversation. I say that knowing that I'm not going to be the guy that does it, so I don't know what, Nikki, Matt, your plate looks like. I will tell you the CEDC is happy to help in any manner we can, but we don't work for the town, we're volunteers, so there's only so much we can do without getting the blessing. So I'll pause there before we move on to the next thing and see if you have any questions that I might be able to answer.
Is one of the projects that they might consider, I don't know if you know, is bringing sewer?
Great question, don't know, but that would be an awesome thing to bring up. So what would happen is Matt or Nikki would engage, talk to our regional person, which I think is Matt Dross, but I know that's kind of up in the air right now. But I think that, they are a motivated team. They love this stuff, from what my son has told me, which is good news. But that would be something we could absolutely, because that is huge, right, for the downtown, so I think that's an excellent point. But I don't know the answer, unfortunately. Any other thoughts or questions?
I think that's great. Thank you so much, for doing
Yeah, no,
this
my
research.
pleasure. It's, like I said, I think it's an opportunity. It sounds exciting, but I'm sure it comes at a cost, like in terms of work and people committed to it. So.
Yep.
All right, well, so switching gears, this one, I kind of talked a little bit too much about the downtown. The VPI is not just downtown, by the way. That is town-wide. Most of them focus on the downtown. This year, switching gears now, I'm talking about the main downtown center. There's actually like a national downtown center that looks at revitalizing downtowns across America, right? So they go into villages and they put sidewalk, they make them very walkable and pretty, and street lanterns, and there's a whole organization nationally to do it. And there is an organization within Maine called the Maine Downtown Center that does it as well. There are two types of memberships that you can have join. One is this affiliate membership, which this was really shocking and news to me, but small towns, Norway, Lisbon, and Munson, have all created these 501c3s which are become the affiliate members. And I'm like, what? You're standing up like, they're like, oh yeah, Poland Downtown. It would be a nonprofit Poland Downtown Center. And so just that I thought was very intriguing, and so I picked at that. I talked to the guys from Norway and the woman from Lisbon, and I talked to their nonprofits and their downtown center, and it was a really intriguing approach that they take. And there are, there's a lot of arguments for and some against doing it this way. But the coolest thing that I thought with the 501c3 downtown thing is that it really opens the aperture in terms of what that committee, that nonprofit can do versus, say, a CEDC or just the municipality. Lisbon in particular, they have a great success story. Their Lisbon Downtown, or Visit Lisbon, I forget what it's called, like they've been able to engage local businesses, not just downtown businesses, but local businesses, just private citizens that are all interested in revitalizing their particular town. They're free to go for nonprofit grants that the town couldn't otherwise do. They're free to solicit business. They're free to do fundraisers. And oh, by the way, they also get some sort of annual stipend that they come back to the board or their EDC for and look for money. So it's really turned out to be this pretty symbiotic relationship between the nonprofit and the town. And they still adhere to everything that the town has to in terms of code enforcement and the plan and all of that, but their hands are kind of freed in terms of being able to leverage other avenues of ideas and ultimately resources. So no real action here except to say that I have talked to towns who, like, they've created this and it was sort of like competitive with the town, and it was not a great relationship. And so I see, the ones that like did this in step with the town, where these nonprofits stood up and local business leaders, became engaged at a 501c3 level, those have done really, really well. There's like a nominal membership fee of like $750 for the nonprofit to join this, or there is a municipal membership too. And what they get really is access to the club. I guess I can't put it a better way. And as an example, like I've had Norway talk to me, I've had Lisbon. They're happy to come here and talk to us as much as we want. Bridgeton's done it. Bridgeton. So they've done some amazing work. I think it's interesting, and I'm not smart enough on it, but as the TIF starts to wind down and the role of the CEDC, like who's going to take that on? Is it going to persist? I don't know, but anyway, this is informational. I think it's kind of interesting. Ultimately, the success and failure of something like this depends on, do you have the people that care enough to dedicate their time, as you all know very well. So I can't really speak to that, but I do think it's an interesting avenue for us to consider as we move forward. And the folks at the main downtown center have been amazing and awesome, and they've really been a good resource. And they often work hand in hand with like PPIs and VPIs with DOT, so they've been able to provide some information to me about that too. But again, I would offer that they're more than happy to come talk to anyone who's interested. Next slide, please. I've kind of already talked about this, but I will say this, in terms of membership, it's not like just pay $750 and you're in. Like, they are pretty restrictive. They want a plan, they have 4 points, that you have to. It's a year-long process to even apply to this organization. They take it very seriously. It's not just like, oh, give me your money and you're in. Like, you have to show a true plan for your town, which I kind of like. I like that forced discipline, and so I will pause there on the main downtown center and answer any questions if anyone has it.
Question, I don't know about Munson, but I know you mentioned Norway, Lisbon.
Yeah.
They had downtowns, they were revitalizing, they went through Lisbon as they were doing a lot of the construction last summer. So does this organization help develop a downtown?
Yeah.
Because we really don't have a downtown.
No, agreed. Yeah.
So,
That was, Stan, that was my exact question. I'm like, do you just revitalize them or do you create them? Because we need to create one. I mean, mostly we need to create one, right? And I think, like, in terms of the two things I talked about today, DOT is going to help us create a downtown a lot more than this organization is. they'll still hold our hand and they'll still be a resource for us. But until, in my opinion, this is just my opinion now, until we identify this is our downtown and we have the plan that goes along with it, I think we're gonna be hard pressed to do anything with these guys. But the DOT, like that is what they do. They help identify downtown starts here, downtown ends here, here's how we make it a walkable community. So yeah, but you're exactly right. I would argue that we really don't have a downtown, we want a downtown, and those communities you mentioned obviously did, and they needed to revitalize them. So that's where we are a little unique. Lisbon though, I would say that the gentleman, Ross, I forget his last name that I talked to, they have two actual downtowns, and he said their second, and I don't know Lisbon super well, but he said their other downtown is a lot like this, where I forget what route it is, goes right through there. He's like, but it's a bypass, it's a pass-through part of downtown. And so from that perspective, he's like, yeah, it reminds me of Poland, because he knew Poland pretty well. So, I mean, that might be an interesting person to talk to some more.
Does the main downtown center assist with applying for grants and?
They do, yeah. They have some of their own that they get federal funding for, and they will assist with us applying for either state grants or federal grants. And I should say, like, they've sent me a bunch of, like, here's an example of bylaws for Lisbon or Norway, if you were interested in standing up such a thing. But my real point, again, in bringing this part up is just to say that, like, this is only gonna be successful if, you know, we're all rowing, in my opinion, rowing in the same direction. Nonprofit, with CEDC, with the town, like, we're on the same page. Yep. Any other questions?
What do you think is our next steps?
I think the next step is some agreements that we should at least reach out to DOT and talk to their regional person in charge of Poland, which again I think is Matt Drost, which I hope is Matt Drost from what I hear about this guy. Super imaginative, super passionate about it, and just have a conversation about the PPI and the VPI, and then you all have a discussion about whether or not it makes sense, and you know, that's what I think would be a great next step. No decisions other than have a conversation. That would be my recommendation and the CEDC's recommendation.
I would support that.
Yeah. Of course, Lisbon, Bridgeton, they already kind of have a focal point.
Yeah,
It's
Right.
more of a village, right?
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is an interesting challenge, and it'd be
Yeah.
great to get DOT's feedback about like what they've done in similar situations, if they have.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I know if we don't ask, we won't find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Rob.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
awesome.
I really
Thank
Thanks for
appreciate
your
it.
time, Ross.
Good evening.
As always.
Have a good night.
You too.
Matt, let's go back up to page 2, please.
Can I suggest we have our guest from last week here, and
Sure.
I think she had some questions that you wanted answered, so
Sure
we're
do, I
prepared to answer
appreciate it.
those. So we drafted up a response to the questions, and I'll just read the question and the
Yeah, I
answer.
don't know if I need to come up here, really.
So,
See your faces
the
better.
first, oh, pardon?
No, sorry, I
okay.
can see your faces better up here.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Hi, guys.
So, the first question was, what are you doing to protect our city from harmful changes like this? I think we kind of paraphrased that question, but the select board and administrative staff strive to deliver services and manage town resources to best benefit residents that are within the law and within the authority given to the town of Poland by our charter and ordinances that the townspeople have adopted. The second question was, how will you make sure public resources in Maine aren't sold off to the highest bidder? Sale of public land in Poland must be approved by residents at town meeting. Sale of excess equipment must be approved by the select board. If the town does sell land or excess equipment, the sale always goes to the highest bidder, as it would be in the best interest of the town to do so. This is done in compliance with the charter ordinances and town meeting approvals that have been voted on by the residents of the town. The third question was, what steps are you taking to protect the privacy and data of taxpayers in this town? Pardon me. Poland residents' data is protected through our IT system, We have various safeguards in place to ensure that no unauthorized access to our server can occur. Access to our IT system is controlled and restricted to only authorized personnel. However, general information is open to the Freedom of Information Act, and we have to reply with a request that is applicable to that law. The fourth question was, how will you support children and families of this town who are being hurt by these policies? Residents that need assistance can contact our General Assistance Program Director. Here, they will find help through either the General Assistance Program, if they qualify, or be directed to the best of our ability to local organizations that can help with a specific need. Question 5, what are you doing to make sure the schools have the funding they need, even if the Department of Education, DOE, is gutted and there is no funding for them to go to school? And this was referencing to children hurt by various policies. Funding for schools is managed by the RSU 16 directors and administrative staff. Questions regarding the RSU 16 budget should be addressed to them.
I'm gonna go. I think they meet on Monday, so I'll definitely go.
Next one is the 10th, which is this coming Monday.
I'll be here.
What times?
I think it's 7 maybe.
6:30.
6:30, I think.
6:30.
Yeah.
It's hard, they,
We're 7. and I
yeah,
think
you can't find, their website doesn't work on a phone. I had to get it, like, their information doesn't come up. It's weird. Sorry.
Oh, no. So question 6, how will you stand up to the dangerous rhetoric and lies coming from this administration? The town of Poland's focus is on delivering effective and efficient services to residents that are within the charter and ordinance that the townspeople adopted for the town of Poland. Keeping that focus on what we have control over is the best way to ensure residents have a stable and safe town to live in. The 7th and last question is, what is your plan to protect the most vulnerable people in this city, our children, immigrants, elderly, working families, and our sick and disabled? There are a number of programs that the town administers to assist Poland residents who apply and qualify. These include general assistance, help with paying for heating oil, and tax assistance funding for eligible seniors. And the questions and answers are part of the packet, so if you want
Okay,
to
the one
look at...
that's, that came, like,
Online.
online.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you should be
perfect.
able to read that on your phone,
Okay.
and if you want, I can give you a hard copy here if you'd like to take
No,
that
no,
home
save
with
the
you.
paper, by all means. I will just lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so those were your questions
I
and
appreciate it. I think, I'm gonna let you guys get back to your meeting, and I'm gonna take some time to read them over and, come back in a couple weeks and see how you guys are doing and working toward that, so.
Great to see you.
Awesome.
And is there, I know a couple people that would be interested in those open seats. I didn't see anywhere to point them to apply.
So online, under boards and committees, if you hit any one of those that's on there, it'll come up board form or volunteer form on the side, and they
Like
can just
something
do
to
that, and it's
print.
online.
Okay, oh, it's an online
Yep,
application.
online, they just
okay.
do it, and then it gets submitted to
I
us,
wonder
and
if I
then we
just-
take it up.
Cause I was on my phone again. I'm not sure. Okay. Well, I
It does
appreciate
work
you
on
guys.
the phone.
Okay,
Yeah,
then
it does
I
work
probably
on
just
the
didn't
phone.
know where I was looking,
Yeah.
so I don't know
Yep.
who your IT person is, but.
And I will mention too that there are 2 select board seats and 1 school board seat, and those are elected positions. The nomination papers just became available on Monday,
Okay.
and I think we have, people have until April 11th to get enough signatures to get on a ballot.
Do you guys, is that a paid position, kind of? No stipend or anything like that? Just volunteer your own
this-
time?
Select
The
board, there's
select
a
board
small
is-
stipend. I don't know about the RSU directors,
Yeah,
though.
there's a
Yeah.
small, there's a stipend as well for.
Stipend
For the,
that.
board
the
directors.
school board or
Yeah.
whatever it, okay, and that's on their site too?
No.
You would get the nomination papers
Well, I can
here,
go on
but,
Monday and,
yeah, you would get
See?
the nomination papers here from our town clerk,
okay.
but I don't know what their stipend is, but it may be in their budget.
I mean,
I think it's 2,000 a year.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
it's
like,
about,
stipend
it's
is
about
usually not,
two,
yeah.
it's about 2 to 3x what we as
I
a
wouldn't
board
think
do.
that the money is the incentive to do this.
Right.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
yeah.
it's cause it's in here. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, guys. I'm gonna chew
Appreciate
these
you
up
coming
and spit them back out in a couple weeks, okay?
All right,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Okay, have a good
Well, let's
night.
welcome the feedback.
Love it.
Um,
Go bother Wyndham now.
Thanks, man.
Could we introduce Deputy Michael Jones? He is our new night deputy. Before we move on, that way.
Please do.
Oh,
our
good, he wasn't
deputy
here for
can,
me.
No, he's our new night deputy.
That way he can get back to doing his Andrews Melvin
Where did you come from?
Sheriff's Office thing.
I came from Norway, so I have about 3 years of service with Norway PD. I spent a couple months in Oxford, and now I'm with the ASO.
And you don't look old enough.
No,
None of the Oxford data.
Yeah, I'm 24. I started when I was 20, so
Nice.
I've almost got 4 years on now.
Thank you so much for your
Welcome.
service.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks for coming.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Have a good night.
We'll see
Thanks
you.
for coming
Take
in.
care, be safe.
Thanks.
Thanks, Matt. for pointing that out.
Yep.
So, I'm sorry, we'll go back to page 2 then.
Okay, the manager report for March, the Maine Waste to Energy Executive Committee, we reviewed the planning concept for planning concept for modernizing the facility and funding options with grants or congressionally directed spending. We decided to cancel our April planned outage and keep the plant running until the planned September outage. An outage is where the plant is shut down, so various maintenance and repair tasks can be performed. The reason we're not doing that in April is when we shut down, we have to pay to divert all the trash. It's gotta go somewhere. And we don't have enough money in the bank to do that at this point. So we're gonna wait till September when we have more cash, and we'll see how that goes there. The MMA Executive Committee, we approved partnership with a firm promoting the use of AI for municipality. It's a new program, we'll see how that goes. They're just standing it up, and we'll just have to see how much help that can be. I'm not too clear on what that'll do.
Such a broad topic. Is there a specific use case they're looking to use?
I think that the idea is to try to get people's feet wet, but I'm gonna go to a meeting with them this Thursday, and we'll see. I mean, they just started it up, and they're affiliating with a company that does this, and so I'm not entirely clear how it's gonna work, but it may have some bearing on what we do here. We'll just have to see. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Brown-tail moth mitigation, we plan to use new technology, drone and mechanical removal to address brown-tail moth in several strategic locations in the municipal complex near the ice rink and then down at Camp Connor. We'll test it out and see how it works. We're trying areas where children are most present at first. A resident made us aware of this, but there's a guy, down Falmouth, I think Freeport is where he's based out of, but he has a drone that he flies up and can tell it where to go, and it identifies brown-tail moth nests. And we identified a few in this immediate area here. And he removes them mechanically. He's got a kind of a lift or something that he comes and they'll send something up in the tree to cut the nest out rather than spraying, which we think is more effective.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try that up here, and then he's gonna go down and take a look at Camp Connor, and we'll see how it goes. But we thought, we had this opportunity to get it at a fairly cheap price. It's cheaper than spraying. If it works, it'll be great, and if it doesn't, okay. But as he reported, the brown-tail moth population is significantly lower this year, so any that we get rid of will have that much more in effect the next year, I would think, because there just aren't that many to repopulate. But it was absolutely fascinating to watch him do this. And Barry was there for that, and we're all freezing, watching this guy fly his drone.
Hey, Matt, is there a cost to that?
Yeah, we're paying, I think it's like $150 a tree and $5 a nest. So if we're up here, it's $730, and we'll see how many nests we get. But
And he removes them all. That's part of his service.
yeah,
All
he'll
that part of his
get them out. But as I said, we're gonna try it out and see how it
Yeah.
works. It looked pretty promising, and
That's nice.
we'll see how we
I
go.
mean, it's nice. I didn't expect that you guys were even looking at that, so
Well,
appreciate it.
down at the camp, we've had a few young campers get rashes, and so Scott is pretty tuned into that. We know behind the school, they've got some brown-tail moth infestation back there. And at the least we go, okay, we can try it out, see if it works. If it's something that we want to do more of, we can tell the school about it if they're interested. But we hit it at just the right time, because this is the time of year to get these nests before they start coming out of hibernation or whatever they're doing in there, and see how we go. The last, well, I got a couple more things I didn't write on this, but we reviewed our budget and made some additional changes, and we sent to workshop participants. The first budget workshop is March 6th at 6:30 at Fire Rescue, and I don't know how many folks have had a chance to look at the revised budget, but we worked pretty hard. We were able to find some additional revenue and reduce expenses, particularly in the solid waste category, so that our net to be raised is now 2.56% with our revised budget. And Nikki deserves a lot of the credit, because I asked her to dig into a couple of particular areas, and she knew where to go and find the data we needed to refine that budget. So I'm pretty happy with that. And thanks for your hard work on that, Nikki.
You're welcome.
The other things, county tax is due 1 September. We're gonna get on a payment plan. Their idea of a quarterly payment plan is one that starts in March. Yeah, so I'll revisit that with them. I don't think they thought it through and they said we could do a payment plan, not in a bad way,
Right.
but it's probably the way they've always collected county tax. Everybody pays on the 1st of September, but the statute says no earlier than the 1st of September, and none of the documents we found dictate that there's an approved date. And so it could be that they just defaulted to 1 September. And they're not being bad, it's just, that's the way they are, and we'll see what we can do. The challenge will be that they built their budget and their spending plan on getting that corpus of funds at the beginning of the year. So unless they have a budget that they can, spread payments throughout the year on, it may be tough for them to do that. So more to follow on that as we engage with them. Western Maine Transportation Service has a bus schedule from Norway to Lewiston. That schedule is on the website and on our Facebook page. The closest pickup point is Depot Square, the park and ride in Mechanic Falls. And it's a pilot program it's active now to the end of May. And we'll see how they go there. Tomorrow, March 5th, we're going to have a delayed Christmas party for the office staff here, and we'll just close the office for a short time from 12:30 to 2, so folks can come in here and do their Christmassy type stuff. And the last one is we're asking the select board to approve posting roads next week on Thursday, March 13th. And so we need to have a vote on that.
Correct.
Make a motion.
Oh,
Posting the roads.
Posting the roads.
Posting the roads. Yeah, so we don't have there wasn't a list.
No,
No, so-
It's in the ordinance.
yeah,
Oh, okay,
All right,
'cause
so-
I thought every year we
Just
just
make a motion. I'd say we make a motion to have the postings for the roads next week, is that?
Thursday,
Next
March
Thursday,
13th.
March 13th, yeah.
second.
Thank you.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tutman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Marianne Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Alby.
Yes.
With a vote 5-0, you have approved the posting of roads on March 13th here in Poland.
Got a couple of questions from that.
Sure.
They're not gonna close, did they normally close the trash twice a year or once a year? No, for maintenance?
I think it depends on what they have to do. Typically, it's an April and a September outage. They do that not in the summer because there's higher volume, and the April and September time is chosen because it's not too cold. Because when the plant goes down, the building doesn't have any heat.
So when they close in September, will it be a longer closure where they're not closing in April?
We'll have to see what happens there. The goal is to be down for as little time as possible. The last time we closed, there was a issue with the coupling that went from basically the boiler
Yeah.
to the generator, or the steam turbine, the steam turbine to the generator. And this thing was made of unobtainium, and we had to look pretty hard to find one, so we found it, and we were down a lot longer than we thought, so we had to deplete some of our reserves to pay to divert trash. It's got to go somewhere, and but that's transparent to customers. So
The county fiscal year is the same as ours?
it's the same as ours.
Okay. It just seems strange then to do the September
Yeah,
and March.
I don't think maybe they haven't been asked that question before, or maybe it was asked, but before the new administrator get in there. He's a pretty responsive guy, and I think he's just trying to figure things out.
Okay, and lastly, I hate to bring it up, the reevaluation, that is gonna start next year?
The reval, yeah, we'll be starting that.
Okay.
Any other questions on the?
Great, thank you. We'll move on to finances.
Pardon me, we're 69.23% through the year. On revenues, I just point out the motor vehicle exercise, just slightly below where we want to be, but that's not an issue at this time of year. It's cold, I don't think a lot of people are buying cars at this point. On sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. On the expenses, we're fine overall. Overall, we're 69.52, right on the glide slope. There's no real issues there. The only thing that jumped out at me was dispatching is a little bit low, but that's just due to the timing of payments. But other than that, we're on track financially, and pending any questions, that's the financial report.
I'll entertain a motion on the report.
Move we accept the financial report as presented?
I second.
Thank you.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Marion Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Elby.
Yes.
With a vote 5-0, you have approved the financial reports as presented.
The next item on the agenda is the transfer station RFP on page 24.
So this is a small bit of the 260-page RFP that was sent. This represents a long time coming. The RFP is for a metal shelter that goes over the roll-off containers and the compactors. It will extend the concrete apron there to accommodate that. We'll rework the access road that goes behind there. We will also, as part of this, have a expansion of the concrete laydown area that is just across that access road where we put all the roll-off containers. The idea is that they'll be on stable ground, and we'll put a small concrete berm around that so that when these things are put down there and moved, that any trash that might spill out can then be easily collected using the loader, and we're not having that stuff get blown off into the woods. The project is funded by EPA grant, and we're still full steam ahead on that. And the hope is that we will have this project go out to bid. We've asked for people to submit their bids on April 3rd. We'll make a selection and a recommendation at the following week's select board meeting. We'll have a pre-bid meeting on March 19th, which we hope will be well attended. And with the goal is to get this project done this summer. So with this particular project here, we will be doing some improvement to the road leading into the transfer station, Waste Not Drive that's going up that hill.
Nice.
Yeah,
Looked at that today, and it's probably just needs to have a shim and pave, and that'll get that. We will replace some culverts that run through that road, and also that come out from the back of the, where the roll-off containers now. If you ever go by there, there's a manhole drainage thing, and it empties out into just the wooded area behind. But this is our chance to replace those, so we'll get that done. And the goal there is to do as much paving as we can after we pay for the concrete and the shelter. So we started out with $598,000. We're down to about $545 with what we paid so far, because we bought a compactor and we paid for engineering services. So we've got some, stuff out of this thing so far. And, well, that's a pretty good deal for the town. We can get this stuff done without having to spend our own
yeah.
internal tax dollars. It's, question, John?
Yeah, so we want to get this project, so bid comes in, get it done by the summer, get it over by the, how is that process going to take place with people coming in and out?
The hope is that we can stay open. We have 3 days, work days in the middle of the week where the facility's closed. So depending, the long pole in the tent is in my estimation, is the cure time for concrete when we extend the apron out. Because until that cures,
Right.
we can't change boxes out. Until that happens, I think we can stay open. And if there is a period of time where we need to remain closed to allow this to cure, Marvin and I have been talking about how, what do we do? What do we tell residents? There's a way for people to dispose of their trash. They can go to the waste to energy facility and dump trash there. And we'll just have to see how long that's going to be. Do we need to do that? It's really a conversation we need to have with our contractor, but we have been thinking about it. And the idea is obviously not to close for at all, but if we do, because we've got the 3 days in the middle of the week, we might be able to work it so that it doesn't impact people too much. And so we'll see how that goes. But my hope is we get this done this construction season. That's off our plate, and hopefully the paving will be included in that as well.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of a headache if we had to shut it down. And if you don't have to shut it down, you only have 2 or 3 days a week, there's going to be a lot of traffic coming in and out of there, so.
Yeah, it's
Do
gonna
you
be
have-
challenging.
So I should ask, do you have a plan for this? Or right now it's still beginning
We have a
stage?
general plan, but until we talk to the contractor and say, when are you gonna be working
Yeah.
and all that, we won't have a specific one. But, the long and short of it, it's gonna be challenging to get this
Yeah.
done, and I think folks will be understanding, and we'll just have to,
Yeah, deal with it.
keep going.
Yeah, I mean, we discussed it or whatever, my thought would be is if you had to do something, again, maybe you don't have it open on that Monday, because if the contractor wants to work basically a Monday through Friday, right? Then you can kind of squeeze that, it does narrow down the days, but at the same time, let's say it needed a week to cure, and they laid on a Tuesday, Wednesday, the reality is that, you could then, instead of having the transfer station open on the Saturday, Sunday, maybe it's open on the next Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
In other words, our work
Yeah.
week of when we normally have it open, we might be able to, for 1 week's time, alter the days that you're
Right.
actually open to get that time frame of cure in place.
Yeah, I think we can
And,
take a
you
look
know,
at that.
limit
There's
it
a
as
couple
best you can.
options.
Because I know that going into Auburn, which like you noted, is one of the options, that's clearly an option, but at the same time, their hours are something that many residents might not be able to support.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, they're only open
they're
till
not- They're
noon
open
on
a very
Saturday.
short window on a Saturday,
Yeah.
and they're not, you know, they're not open after certain hours and
Yeah.
stuff,
There is
open as early as we are.
I think there's a couple of businesses too that can absorb that, probably, if you wanna call them, have it picked up at their house.
Yeah,
There's one in town here.
but I think the first step is we get the RFP out, we get it back, make sure that we're happy with the price and the contractor's capability. And once we pick that person, then that's when the rubber meets the road on schedule, and then how are we gonna do this and make sure that we can still deliver the service to residents that they need.
And this is money we have in hand, right?
This is reimbursable.
Would you, I'm just wondering if there's gonna be a problem with all the cutting and grants that haven't
Maybe.
been awarded.
But
That have
they
been
haven't said no
promised.
yet. And I think there's so much, as they call them, plates spinning on sticks. Until someone says no,
Businesses.
they haven't said no. And we just keep,
But we'll have some kind of a guarantee before we go forward with this.
yeah, we'll make sure that EPA says, yeah, you'll be able to access these funds
Do we already have a written agreement with them?
with
to access
EPA.
these funds?
Yes, we
Yeah,
have a,
so we have to honor that.
No, there are some, I don't know about EPA, but there are some grants that were promised to people that aren't being honored.
yeah, but I think
So,
there's a lot that's going on
Yeah.
with the federal government's doing money now, but until they tell us we can't have the money,
Yeah.
we have the money.
So I just have a question about, so, and the buildings that are at our transfer station, the one that's down below and the one up on the hill, are they like, they're good spaces for our employees to hang, I mean, spend their work
Yeah,
days,
there's-
they cool in the summer, they're heated in the winter, they're comfortable, they're weatherproof, those kinds of things.
Yeah, they work. The one down below it's in pretty good shape. I didn't put that in the grant scope of work. I did put replacing the satellite office up on the top of the hill,
Oh, good.
because believe it or not, that's a trailer, it's on wheels.
Yeah.
But that's at the end of
pay attention.
the priority list.
Yeah.
It's get
Yeah.
the shelter, get the concrete,
Yeah.
do the paving, and then we'll look at, the other things we would do are that building up there, and if we have additional funds, buy some more equipment, like more roll-off containers and open-top containers. And so those things are at the end of the list.
Right.
And I think the best value for money for us is getting these big, large things complete, because over time, we, within our budget in the town, can address those other issues.
Sure.
And we have over the years, we
Sure.
bought more roll-off containers, compactors and that sort of stuff. But that's the order of priority, shelter, concrete, paving, then we can look at satellite office and additional roll-off and open-top containers.
Matt, the paving, that's only gonna go to the satellite office, right, and end right there? Or is the plan to pave that whole entire top too?
The plan,
That would be nice.
well, the plan is to pave everything,
Oh, that's, yeah,
but I don't know if we're gonna get there.
yeah.
When we put the grant together, things cost a lot less. So, we had 600 grand to start off with, just have to see how much is left. And so the paving priority is the hill going up. That's,
Yeah.
particularly in winter, can be a bit of a struggle. The rest of the pavement is actually in pretty good shape, when you think about it. We're not bringing heavy trucks over a lot of that stuff. It's pretty good, so hopefully we can we'll go as far as we can.
So if you don't have to pay the lower, maybe you could divert the rest of the paving to the top.
I think what we would do is pave as much of the lower
Yeah.
part as we can.
Okay,
That's where the most residents go.
yeah,
My thought there was that this is our chance to revitalize that. And if you ever go up there and you watch, got a lot of people come in, they're pretty spry, they're throwing trash bags in the hopper, but then you've got some of our elderly residents that, you know, if we're able to make sure that pavement is flat, smooth, no chinks in it, that when they're moving stuff around, they're not gonna be tripping and falling. So that's why we're concentrating in that area. And when you're going up to the top, what are you doing up there? You're not, you're moving brush, you're throwing metal in the metal trailer, any porcelain, stuff in the revetment, you know, you're a bit more mobile. So we wanna make sure we're looking out for folks that have that as a problem.
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
I need a
So we
motion.
need a motion to move the RFP forward?
Yeah, I say we make a motion to move the RFP forward for the revitalization of the transfer station.
Second.
Thank you.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tettenman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Marion Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Elby.
Yes.
With a vote of 5-0, you have approved you have approved the transfer station revitalization RFP, and you have approved to have it sent out by a vote of 5-0. Can't talk tonight.
Next item is a road naming application on page 34, is what I have electronically.
And they would like to name it Brighton's Way.
Where is this? Because it says the closest existing road is Winterbrook. Winterbrook is Mechanic Falls. So where's, do we know where the road is?
I don't know offhand.
Hold on.
I was gonna say, give me a second, I might be able to find it.
Yes.
I wonder, you know, it's gotta be right there where Winterbrook and Herrick Valley meet. And I don't know why they put Winterbrook versus Herrick Valley.
Hmm.
As long as we know that they're in Poland.
Well, they came to our planning board, so I would assume we know they're in Poland.
Okay.
Let me see really quick. 015-008.
Don't worry about it. No, if the planning board approves it.
It says it is, lot 15, lot 8A is off from Bakerstown Road by David Corcoran, owned by David Corcoran.
It's across from the ball field.
That's where I would say,
Oh, so that's why Winterbrook is there, okay.
yep.
Oh, yep.
So-
Okay. I was thinking Winterbrook coming towards Herrick Valley.
Did he pull it up faster than I did?
No, as you were saying, it popped up.
Hey, there you go.
He had it
Thanks, Zach.
ready to go, like it was planned.
So,
I was listening to AI.
yep.
Yeah.
All right, motion, please.
I move we approve the naming of the road to Brighton's Way. For,
That's all we need.
that's all,
I
okay.
second.
Second,
Thank you, Zach.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tutman.
yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Marion Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Elby.
Yes.
By a vote of 5-0, you have approved the naming of the road to Brighton's Way. And I guess Brighton is their grandson, from what I heard, is his name.
Makes sense.
Oh, okay.
The next page is payables.
I make a motion that we pay our bills for the fiscal year 2025, the amount of $287,737.90.
I'll second that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tettenman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Marion Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Elby.
Yes.
By a vote of 5-0, you have approved the payables in the amount of $287,737.90.
Any other business, John?
No, I'm good.
Stan?
Nope.
The only comment I had is that we do have our budget meeting coming up this Thursday.
6:30.
6:30 meeting time, 6 PM dinner.
Yep.
Okay, so,
Thursday.
yep,
At the fire
That's
station.
fire
the
station.
fire
okay.
station. Anything from you?
I did want to provide an update from the Poland Broadband Committee.
Hmm.
So we did talk with a representative with Consolidated Communications, and the letter was perfect, so thank you very much for your support in that. They're going to move forward with getting Poland on a BEAD application to get some funding. So the deadline was previously February 28th. The Main Connectivity Authority has extended that to the end of this week. I reached out to her last Friday and she assured me, don't worry, Poland's going to be getting submitted, so.
Nice.
Great.
Thank you.
Great news.
Yeah. I just actually had someone on Facebook ask if there was ever gonna be fiber in town. I said, we're working on it. I said, our broadband committee's working on it. Yeah. So that's great.
Yeah.
Lisa?
I do not have anything.
I was delaying, I'll do a quick update of the formula
Yep.
group
Yep.
that Lisa and I are members of. We've held 2 meetings. The next meeting is scheduled at the 27th of this month. And following the process, the legislative process that's in the statutes to doing. So this is not a process, this is a process that this committee of 9 people, 3 people from each of the communities, in RSU 16, it does not go through the school board afterwards. In other words, whatever this group determines and to be what is moved forward, goes directly to referendum. So it does not go to the school board looking for approval to then push it out to referendum. Probably the school board will have to execute getting it to referendum and vote to do it or whatever the case may be, but that thing, so, you know, there's a process. It's looking at all the things. I think all of the towns understand why it's being discussed. And I think that there is some concerns, especially from one of the communities, to, you know, what the impact might be in making a funding formula change. We have the latitude of making that changes over time, and that be the vote. So in other words, implementation phases of a greater percent over a year, 2 years, 3 years type of discussions or whatever. So we'll just kind of see what next meeting brings at the end of the month, and where I think we'll have a vote to whatever the recommendation is. You know, to either do nothing or do X, Y, Z. So we'll see what comes out of it. You know, obviously, anything that's being discussed at this point, if there's any change, will only be a beneficiary to Poland, since we pay such a 63 to 65% of the budget through the history or whatever. But we'll see how it all plays out. And then the voting is like the school vote, where it's all 3 towns vote, and it's a matter of what carries across the total vote of the 3 communities to yes or no.
It's not a weighted vote.
It's not a weighted vote.
Do you know if they're trying to get that is the hope to get that on the June ballot?
Yes.
That's, yes, yes.
Yeah, we're not dragging our feet.
Okay.
Yeah, you started pretty early
No,
enough, so you
no.
guys should be.
I mean, when it would be implemented, I think is still in discussion. So in other words, how do you time it for, is it next school, not the one that's about to go through
Yeah.
budget times? It would probably be at least the following year before it would begin to implement.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about ballots, because
Yes.
we have to have ballots printed.
Yeah, no, we don't wanna
And
do a
stuff
special
before.
vote. We don't wanna do a special
No.
vote for this. I think we're far better off to
Yeah.
align, but
Yeah.
that's,
Okay. Good.
And speaking of school budget, how's that going, and have they received any information from the state in terms of what they're gonna get for
funding, or what does that process look like?
It's all up in the air right now,
Mhm.
and it's very uncertain, and the first budget meeting, I think is tomorrow, I think it's on my calendar, and I will go to that, but yeah, there's not a whole lot of, I don't know, how to, just uncertain, yeah.
I mean,
There's
I
sort of
heard, I
kind of-
heard anecdotally at that meeting the other night that, you know, they had met as a organization within the RSU, not to the
Yeah.
budget committee and whatever,
Yeah.
and trying to decide what it is that they were looking for and what it all added up to be and.
So the
and,
first-
And I was encouraged by some of the comments of understanding that they've got to find a way to limit what they're trying to do, but they do have a contractual pay increase that's in play that they've got to meet, so.
So the first budget meeting is tomorrow, and it's at 6 PM at the at the high school.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. Matt,
Nothing else, Steve?
Nikki,
Nope, nothing.
entertain a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
for a second?
Second?
John DeSantis.
Yes.
Stan Tetman.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Marion Hawks.
Yes.
Lisa Elby.
Yes.
With a vote 5-0, you'll adjourn the meeting. Have a great evening, everyone.
Could you show me what the PDF reading on this thing is?